And I think what I'll do first is I'm going to squeeze out my fresh color. And notice I leave it until just right before I paint. Burnt umber, I've already got some there. Raw umber, burnt sienna, raw sienna. There's plenty there from the last time I painted. And then let's go ahead and start with my yellow. Let's get this to primary yellow or cad yellow light. And then I have some Rose Doreé or something similar. Cad red light would be another one. Permanent Alizarin crimson would be next. Cobalt violet is next. I want to be able to just grab my pigments and not have to work up the pigment with water, because that creates over mixing in the wells, and that creates muddiness. Here's ultramarine blue. I want to be able just to pick it up with my brush. Cobalt blue. So most of these pigments that I'm using are the Sennelier paints. You can get them on my website. They tend to stay moist a little bit longer than ones that don't have the honey. They're honey based, so they tend to stay moist a little bit longer. Here's my cerulean blue, olive green or sap green, and then we have phthalo blue and phthalo green. All right, there's all my colors squeezed out, nice and fresh. And as I set up the reference, I was thinking I would do it on dry paper, but the more I looked at it, the more I thought, no, maybe I'll do it on damp paper. So we can try to do that, do this on damp paper. Let's get this set up right. Then let's get our sponges. I didn't mention the sponges in the materials discussion before, but I try to get a cellulose sponge like this, one of the square ones, or a Mapai sponge is a synthetic sponge, but I find that this works really well too. Either one of those are fine. Okay, so let's do this on damp paper. This will help with the fluidity of the pigment. This also helps keep the paper flat. So you can wet the front and the back with a brush. I like to use a squirt bottle, but if you don't have a squirt bottle handy, just your big flat brush will work too. And I do the front and the back. That helps to keep that moisture even in the fibers of the paper. And how much you squeeze on there is really dependent upon your environment. If you're working in a dry, hot environment, you'll probably want to squeeze more on there than what I do. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and it hasn't reached much above 62 degrees in the last 2 weeks here, right on the coast. We live in the fog. So when we go out and visit some relatives, or when I go teach a workshop and it's 80 degrees, ooh, it feels hot to me. Okay. But if you're working in an environment where it's very warm, or you've got an air conditioner going, some movement of air and things dry fast, you can probably want to squeeze more on here than what I do. All right. And then I take a towel or a diaper and I roll it up like this. And then just go from the center out. And I use a firm pushing down because I want it to be evenly damp. If I were to go like this, blot it, then it's really going to look bad on the painting because you'll have pockets of dry area and pockets of wet. I want it evenly damp. Plus it also helps to flatten out the paper. All right, now that my pigments are all ready to go, we should be all set. Let's put the clips back on. And as the paper slowly dries, it'll tighten up. These clips will hold that in place.